Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is your boy Aves coming to you with a video. My voice is dying. I actually probably should use a speech thing. I do want to say thank you guys for all of your support. Welcome new subscribers. I appreciate you guys being here. Welcome to the Moonlight family. And yeah, I wasn't expecting my Bongchan video to do what it did. And I think one of the things that I'm most grateful for is the open dialogue in that video. So thank you guys for participating. I really appreciated it. There were some comments that were a little longer than others, but I got through them, and I really enjoyed reading and listening to you guys take on that whole situation. But yes, with that out of the way, we have a new situation. Well, it's kind of old. Actually, no, it's very old. This news came out on August 4th. That was a whole month ago. Yes, that was a month ago. Wow, my lord, how time flies. Okay, so it slipped my notice, but I did mention it in a live stream, so I guess it didn't completely slip my notice. But we're going to talk about it today, so let's get started. Of course, like, comment, and subscribe to the channel Moonlight Antonio. We give you reactions, K-pop, and inspiration from under the beautiful moonlight. Turn on that bell for notifications so you can be alerted to my latest upload. Remember to share the video. Sharing gains traction with YouTube and gets this YouTube channel on the map even more. I would greatly appreciate it. So with that out of the way, let's get into the news now. I do apologize for my voice. It does sound very, 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 very bad. I got water, but it's not really helping much because I'm talking still. But bear with me. Okay, so this news is entitled TO1's Chan apologizes for durag controversy at last year's KCON LA. So this is about last year's KCON LA. Not this year, last year. Wow. So he's apologizing for something that happened last year? Okay, it says here, TO1's Chan personally apologized for his durag controversy. On August 3rd, Chan took to Instagram to post an apology in English and Korean for wearing a durag at KCON LA, 2022 LA, sorry. At the event in August of last year, Chan was seen wearing a durag during TO1's performance, and many criticized him for the alleged inappropriate cultural appropriation. I don't think they needed to put inappropriate when... anyway. Okay, alright. In this letter, Chan apologizes to those he may have offended with his outfit and expresses his respect for hip-hop culture. This is his apology. Hello, this is Cho Chan-hyuk. I hope I said that right. I would like to sincerely apologize to everyone who has been offended by my outfit for the special stage at KCON 2022 LA. After the incident, I've been contemplating how to phrase my words to express my sincere condolences to those I might have offended. I apologize for my late apology. I wore the durag to show my utmost respect for hip-hop culture, not fully understanding how inappropriate this could be. I had absolutely no intention to offend or degrade anyone or any culture. I've been wearing durag on a few occasions, both on and off stage, and now I'm aware that I wasn't mindful enough of the seriousness of the issue. I will take this opportunity to be more attentive to the issues related to diversity and respect and to become a more mature artist. And that is his apology. I want to share something with you guys. For those that don't know anything about the origin of the durag actually dates back all the way to the 19th century, back when poor workers and slaves would tie their hair back with a scarf, essentially, which is what the durag, or at least where the durag came from, or the idea of it came from. In the 1930s, during the Great Depression period, the durag had evolved from just a scarf that ties your hair back to basically like a curator for your hair. Then we had the Black Power movement in the 1960s through the 1970s, and during that time all the way to the 2000s, it became more of a fashionable thing to wear and became popularized by hip-hop culture, or from hip-hop culture, which is why you see people like Eminem wearing a durag on stage winning an award. But that does not mean that black people owned the durag. Darren Doughty, he created the durag, but he didn't want to call it that. He wanted to call it a link. But essentially, there's been racial stuff that has been attached to the do-rag. It's known that a lot of African Americans have worn the do-rag over the years. It became very popular because African Americans wore it more so than any other race. It became so popular that the National Football League had banned the wearing of any kind of do-rag or scarf or bandana. No one was allowed to wear that. There were some who were of the belief that the banning of the wearing of do-rags was aimed at black people because they were the main ones wearing it. The NFL's reason, however, was to prevent anybody from being able to seem as if they were affiliated or associated with a gang. I think we created it as a race problem is my point. It was never a race issue. It is not a black-owned thing to the point where other races can't wear it. I don't see the problem with an Asian wearing a do-rag if they want to wear a do-rag. They spent their money on the do-rag, put the freaking do-rag on. It's not a big issue. And like I said, I just gave you a little bit of the history of where the do-rag came from. I don't understand why we are making this so big when this is actually not as big as issue. So if you think about what I've told you so far, we can deduce that people who were in charge of certain organizations, National Football League, they banned the wearing of do-rags, not because it's black owned, okay, but because of its heavy affiliation with gang culture, not just hip-hop culture, but gang culture, okay? Something interesting to note about do-rags is that if you think about it, the first form of do-rags that were worn on the heads of people in the 19th century who were not just slaves but white people as well was a headscarf, okay? There were British women, and it's mainly women. It's a lot of men didn't wear headscarves that much. I'm not saying they didn't, but the majority of people that wore the headscarves were black women and white women. It was mainly seen in Britain. There were two monarchs that wore the headscarf prominently. Both of them was Queen Victoria and Queen Elizabeth II. And in the 1920s, there were also white people and black people wearing headscarves. They had different kinds of headscarves. The fabrics were different, the patterns, prints were different. It was all kinds of different ways. You see it even in religion. You've got a bunch of people wearing it, women predominantly, because there's Judaism where the women's head should be covered. There is the Muslim religion where women's head should be covered. There were a lot of people who wore them. Actress Elizabeth Taylor wore the headscarf, and she even said she considered the headscarf to be a key piece for women's wardrobes. So it was mainly women-based. Now, later on, guys in the 80s, 90s, do-rags, the actual style of the do-rag was more prominently seen, especially in the 90s and the early 2000s. And a lot of rappers have kind of left the do-rag in 2001, so to speak. That's an old thing. But then do-rags started to come back, and now there's more stylish do-rags. But I want you guys to remember that it was predominantly black and white women and British women who wore headscarves. It all comes back down to headscarves. You can say that, well, the style of the do-rag, the way that it looks, is black owned, but the use of it is not. And you have to also bear in mind that it is seen as a fashion piece. Okay, you cannot neglect that fact. It is not just seen as something that keeps your hair in place. And for black people to get mad because people who don't have black hair are using do-rags as fashion pieces when black people even use them as fashion pieces. There are even bald black people that wear do-rags. What the freak are you wearing a do-rag for if you're bald? You're bald, you don't have hair. But because they're black, it's okay to wear a do-rag. And this is why I say it doesn't make sense. There's many reasons why it doesn't make sense. And I'm just pointing out a few. You don't see a bunch of women rising up against men saying that you shouldn't wear headscarves or do-rags or anything because it's sexist. That's our stuff. Women, we wore those. You don't see that, but black K-pop stans getting mad about a K-pop idol wearing a do-rag. Now, I will say this. Yes, so he was wearing it to respect hip-hop culture, but it's not just hip-hop culture. It goes farther back than that, and that's why I believe if he educated himself on what I believe he educated himself on, which is the history of the durag, which is first and foremost headscarf, then durag, okay? Then I feel that there was no reason for him to apologize. And the only reason why he did apologize is because backlash, a bad look, and the company made him do it. Because the man said that he would wear it even off stage. I don't think that this is as big a deal as black K-pop stans have made it, and it's unfortunate that we don't understand the simple history of what the durag is. Durag was not just for black people. White people wore it. Headscarves is what the durag essentially is. It's a headscarf. It just looks a certain way, and because of the look of it, black people will get mad about it. Now, regardless of whether a black person came up with the look of the durag, the stylistic look, or not, it's kind of irrelevant. Just because we invent something, there's no law or rule in place that says that only black people are supposed to wear it, and that any other race that does is being racist, whether you know you're being racist or not. That is stupid. Straight up stupid. And every black person who ever thinks that way should be ashamed of themselves. Because if an Asian person wears it, I'm not going to automatically assume he's a thug, gangster, or anything like that. So I don't know why black people are getting offended about something that people in our own country have misidentified as something that it is not. They've misidentified it as gang this, gang that. So if you think about it critically, it seems like America, or people in America, have associated durags with evil activity, gang stuff, violence, all that other stuff that black gangs are a part of. But also, if I'm not mistaken, there are Latinos who wore durags as well. They're not black. It's just so dumb. Gang members are the only people that wore durags. They were black people that wore durags that weren't in gangs. I've worn durags many times. I wear durags to this day, actually. I don't understand what the issue is with other races wearing durags, other races wearing dreads, braids, cornrows, box braids. I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it. Now, it's a problem that I'm seeing a lot lately that's a recurring problem in K-pop, where black K-pop stans, a few K-pop stans with white savior complex, to defend black people and their accusations of cultural appropriation against idols, just running amok on the internet and public forums. Why is it that every time an idol wears a hairstyle that you have a problem with, or wears a piece of clothing that has been predominantly worn by black people, you all of a sudden get quote-unquote righteous indignation that rises in you to call it out? I'm sorry, right now I'm looking at a post that somebody made about TO1, and the post reads that TO1 just covered that, and one of the members had a do-rag under the cowboy hat and took the cowboy hat off on the line, "Ya nega." Are you serious? So you're telling me that you think that he was trying to indirectly insult black people? Why do you assume the absolute... This is what I meant in the previous video by black people instantly assuming the worst of every other race that wears something that is predominantly black in nature. And let me be very clear, for those who don't know what the word nega means, not the N-word, but nega, Korean word. It is the word that means in English, I or me. So he took off his hat on the word that said I or me, referring to himself. Are you seriously gonna sit here and tell me that he was indirectly insulting black people? Or maybe it's because, and I'm gonna dig into you for a minute, so I apologize in advance, or maybe I shouldn't apologize. Maybe you're just uneducated as to what the Korean word means. You probably should have looked it up before you decided to make a stupid tweet or whatever the stupid thing is, stating that it's him insulting black people, because that's basically what you're saying. He took off his hat, showed the do-rag, and blatantly insulted black people. Real problems. This is not a real problem. There's too much going on in your life for you to be this offended. I'm not offended. I'm black. I don't care. What I do care about is black people trying to use whatever they can to play the victim card, and that kind of thing seeping into K-pop, because K-pop idols are doing quote-unquote problematic things by putting do-rags on their head. I don't know about you, but as a black man, I would be offended if someone walked up to me, black or white, and said, oh, you shouldn't wear a do-rag because you look like somebody who could be in a gang. So if I or you would be offended by someone saying that about a black person, like, oh, why are you gonna stereotype me as being in a gang because I wear a do-rag? So why are you stereotyping every other race, including Asians, wearing do-rags or different hairstyles that black people claim to be black owned? Why would you stereotype them as being racist and cultural appropriating bigots? Just a question. And I'm gonna leave it there. I think that's probably the best point that I could have ever pointed out. We just gotta think a little more critically about this stuff. People love to use the phrase, well, not everything's black and white. There's nuance to everything. There's all different kinds of color. You're right. And I'm pointing out a lot of different kinds of colors, including black people stereotyping other people who could be wearing different hairstyles that are black, claim to be black owned, or do-rags or whatever, could be wearing that stuff as a way to show respect and homage to black culture or whatever. Or they just really like the hairstyle and so they want to wear it. And you, by misjudging them based on what they're wearing, you prevent them from even wanting to show any ounce of admiration or respect or to represent how they feel about us in a positive light, because all you keep thinking about is the negative aspects. Oh, how negative it is. Oh, how culturally appropriating it is. Oh my gosh. Like, if you want an example of cultural appropriation, look at Ali London in the past. Look at everything he's done, everything he said, and you tell me if this brother, who, yes, he is a brother, wearing a do-rag is the same thing as Ali London trying to get his eyes plastic surgery monolid like Asians, trying to get his face to look like Jimin from BTS, and then calling himself transracial, making a parody of Asian culture, making a parody of Koreans, like, come on. That's an insult to Asian people, what he did. What this brother is doing, and yes, I'm gonna keep calling these Asian people my brothers and sisters because they are. Because I'm not telling people that they can't wear certain stuff because of the color of their skin. That's what black K-pop stans and even some white knights who want to be like white saviors for black people who think that way, they'd say the same thing. And I'm telling you right now, it's wrong. And the more that I see news like this, where a K-pop idol has to come out and apologize to the black community of K-pop fans who felt offended by him wearing something that they believe is culturally black in nature, and then he says his intentions, but people don't believe him. And they make stupid remarks like, yeah, we all know that that's what all K-pop idols say, just so that they can like use that as an excuse to scapegoat out of being held accountable. Oh, I did it because I want to appreciate hip-hop culture. You need to be educated. And the very people that are telling these Korean idols to be educated don't even know anything about the history of the do-rag. The very thing that they're claiming is black culture. So maybe y'all need to go back and research it too before y'all jump on him. And don't look it up and say, oh, it says here that it came out during the slavery days and slaves used to wear it, so therefore it's black owned. Get somewhere. That's the lamest argument I've ever heard. Shut that up and go actually do some research. But that's my thoughts on it, guys. Let me know what you think about it in the comments. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe for more content from your boy. And until next time, rest my voice. It's your boy Abe signing out. Peace. I love you guys. Bye. See you in the next one.